I was selling my trauma to people and people were rejecting that like it wasn't enough. You know, like you haven't been through enough or it's not captivating enough.
Is having a purpose worth the pain?
That was a really dark phase in my life because I have to relive it so often. And I did it at the beginning to build my reputation. I think that I feel a little bit trapped.
Jordan Corcoran founded Listen Lucy, a youth mental health organization based right here in Pittsburgh. It took over 7 years before she managed to turn her darkest moments into a nationwide movement. But she soon discovered the immense personal cost of that success.
I think that it takes a very specific type of person to endure what we've chosen to do, right? I think it's tenacity. I think it's a touch of delusion, and I am a little bit delusional in the belief in myself that I am special enough to make this happen.
Today, we explore the emotional courage it takes to step back from the very mission that defines you in order to protect your own mental health. How do you evolve beyond your origin story without losing the purpose that drives you? You'll learn that today on Thought Leaders.
Pittsburgh Pale Ale. This is from Hop Farm.
Okay.
Okay.
Should we cheers?
We should cheers and get this started. Thanks for being here once again. Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Okay, so since this is the Pittsburgh Pale Ale, let's start with right here at home. Are you from Pittsburgh originally?
Yes, I am. I went to high school at North Hills High School, and I've been here, you know, from the very beginning. I went to a private Catholic elementary school, St. Teresa's in the North Hills, and have been here. I went to college in Erie, but then came right back, as most Pittsburghers do.
Most Pittsburghers do. My wife came right back. I came with her.
Yeah.
Now, why'd you come back specifically other than that? Was there anything else drawing you to the city?
No, honestly, at the time, I was hesitant to come back and not looking forward to it. I left Pittsburgh to go to college in not a great state of mind and thought I'll never be back here. Why would I ever come back here? And I kind of came back begrudgingly, not knowing what my next step was after college. But I'm so glad that I did, and I got a job here, and then I started developing my own business here, and now I have fallen so in love with the city as an adult, which has been a really nice turn of events.
Up next, for our second, this is actually my favorite beer in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
This is the Firehouse Red.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers to you. And I'll ask a question in line with the name. What fires you up?
In a good way or a bad way?
Let's start good and go from there.
Okay, this is actually a perfect day for this because earlier today I was doing a collaboration with one of my clients for the Corcoran Collective, which is my PR firm, and a local school. And we had the kids come and tour the hotel and do a cooking class, and they made their food and had their lunch. And what really fires me up, honestly, is spending time with the youth in our city. It is always time well spent. They are the most inspiring, incredible kids. They have so much to say. They have so many cool perspectives. They aren't being like pushed down on what they think they should be saying or what society thinks they should be doing. They speak freely and they're having so much fun regardless of what's going on in the world. So that really fires me up when I get to spend time with kids in any capacity and teach them something or be a part of watching them experiencing something new and get their feedback. I mean, it's so fun.
We both have family now, we both have children. Did that exist before you had children? Did you always have that passion?
Yeah.
Or did watching your own little ones grow up help to feel that?
I will say I definitely have always had that passion, but I will say that obviously it is next level now that I get to experience life through my kids' eyes. The magic it puts back in your life is such a privilege and so fun and really a humbling experience of like, oh, okay, like life is amazing every single day. If you ask my 5-year-old and 3-year-old what their day was, every day is a great day. And being able to re-experience that, it knocks you down a few pegs, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because all of the minutia and stress that you got, parking was a drag.
That's right.
You
Who
come
cares?
home, well, they don't, certainly.
Yeah.
And every day is fantastic.
That's right. And my son would be like, this parking garage is unbelievable.
Can you believe all the cars that are in here? They're everywhere.
We're parking inside.
And you're like, they're everywhere.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So what fires you up the other way then?
I think that as an entrepreneur, as a woman, as a mother, without getting too one way or the other on my thoughts on things going on in the country, I think what fires me up is what seems to be a lack of empathy for others that I'm seeing both in conversations that are being had and not even necessarily to people in power, but conversations that are being had in living rooms and on social media platforms that maybe don't impact those in power who they think they're reaching, but that kids and people in their lives are reading and feeling and hearing, that really fires me up. It is hard for me to stay cool, calm, and collected about it because I know who's being affected by these conversations.
Right, yeah. Turns you Firehouse Red.
That's right. I'm gonna have another
Hey, all right, that's good, that's good. And before we go too far, we should talk about the Corcoran Collective. Duh, it's the whole reason you're here, right? And Listen Lucy, I want to hear about both of them. But let's start with the entrepreneurial jump first, and then we'll talk about Listen Lucy, which my understanding is preceded that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen Lucy came first.
Which one should we talk about first? Then you just guide it for me.
All right, let's talk about Lucy first.
Okay,
because that's how it started.
Who's Lucy?
That's me. I am Lucy. My name is Jordan.
Okay.
But my mom gave me the nickname whenever I was little. She called me Luce, Lucille, Lucy, Lucinda, way more than she ever called me Jordan.
Was that based off of somebody, a character, somebody on
So
TV? Like, I love Lucy.
Yeah.
Okay,
I love
there we
Lucille
go.
Ball, but she, I mean, I don't know if she would credit it that, but I used to sit and watch episodes of I Love Lucy whenever I was little.
Me too.
I have all the dolls. I just loved it. I thought it was the most hilarious show. So when I wanted to start a mental health organization. And at first, the organization started as an anonymous online outlet where people could write their stories, sort of like a Dear Abby. But I made the uniform start Listen Lucy. And people would write in, and I'm a writer. The alliteration of Listen Lucy sounded so much better than Listen Jordan. And now it it's taken on a life of its own and has become my identity. And now people are always thinking my name is Lucy.
Right.
Which it sort of is.
Was it the need for creative expression which created Lucy, or was Lucy the outlet for it? Which way did that go?
That's a really good question. I don't know if it's like the right thing to be saying, but like I've always had this confidence that I could make a change in the world. I've always thought that about myself. And while there is like a performative aspect to it, right? Like I present to schools and I say basically the same thing to schools. And now every presentation is a little bit different, right? It depends on what the school's going through. It depends on what I feel like saying that day. But there's a reason to all that, right? It's also to protect my mental health as I relive my trauma in front of thousands of people. So it's a little bit challenging. So I think there is part of it that is a persona but what I love about it, it's how I feel all the time. But when I'm Lucy, it's okay that I feel that way, right? Like I feel that strongly about topics. I feel like what my story is really important. I feel like I have this skill set to make an impact on people. And maybe in my personal life and in personal conversations, that confidence is not looked at the same way as when I have a microphone in my hand in front of all these kids. So I think, yes, it is a persona, but it like really is who I am. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. It's great when those come as closely together as possible.
Yes.
I've used content as a sort of, not a barrier, but certainly as like a veil through which to be a little like more strongly worded than I would normally be, a little more opinionated, and that's what gets attention.
Yeah.
It's not 100% me there though. It's nice to know that you've been able to mix the two.
Yes, yeah. It feels like, it's weird because it's performative, but I have often said that something happens to me like when I present. It just feels like...
Just turn on.
Yes, and it's like...
Me too.
It clicks into where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right? It's a very challenging career, but before and after I do it. While I'm doing it, it's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing and why I've created this purpose myself, but it's like what I'm meant to do. I'm sure we will talk about it at some point, but I have anxiety disorder, but what's so strange is that has never come out in performance anxiety. It's like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
And it makes me feel alive. I feel so lucky that's how I feel.
I will come back to Lucy, the inspirations therein and what you do now. Corcoran Collective though, how did that lay into all of this?
So, super long story as short as I can make it. I was about 7 years in to Lucy, and I started to experience this huge upswing finally, which was so exciting.
7 years in.
7 years in, yeah.
God, I want to ask later about how you managed to make it through all those 7 years without before an upswing, because it's like, that's the entrepreneurial grind. But sorry, go ahead.
It's the truth though, right? And it's reality. And I was talking about something that people weren't talking about yet. And I was clawing my way into schools where schools weren't really doing this type of programming yet. So I had to get my reputation. I had to beg. I had to do a lot of different things to reinvent my message many, many ways. But I started to experience this upswing, and I had just launched my speaker agency at the time called Listen Lucy Presents. And then the pandemic happened and I lost everything because I'm a public speaker. If there's no public, there's nowhere for me to speak.
Sure.
And this huge upswing was just clobbered. And like so many small businesses all over the world, it felt so personal, even though it wasn't, it was happening to everybody. But it was like on March 10th, I was speaking at a school. I had just done back-to-back assemblies and was about to go into this like major season of Listen Lucy, and then on March 13th the world shut down and I lost every contract, every speaking over the weekend, and it was devastating. In the meantime, my background is in PR and social media, and my experience, my education, and I've been running my own PR the whole time. And I wrote a children's book during that summer as I was like trying to figure out, I was trying to keep my head above water, figure out what my next move was. I wrote a children's book called Little Lucy and the Little Butterflies. It's talking to elementary school kids about dealing with anxiety in school, and it promotes like free and accessible coping techniques. Launched the book in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a pretty polarizing election, and I picked up a lot of press for it locally. And I thought, I wonder if I'm taking the skill set for granted. So I reached out to my network and said, hey, do you need PR and social media support? And there was a big need for it. So created the Corcoran Collective, where now we offer public relations, social media strategy, influencer relations, and we are slowly rolling out new services for 2025 as well. And we have diversified our client roster, so we do not have 2 clients in the same industry as of now. We try to keep it separate.
This one is going to be, if you're not a fan of the bitter, it might take a second.
Okay.
It is a hazy IPA.
Okay.
I had to hit you with this. Okay. So cheers, and then I'll talk about what it is. This is from Helltown Brewing. It is a hazy IPA, which is called DVE Rocks.
Well, I love that name.
And it is a charitable collaboration.
Okay.
In collaboration with a radio station here, and all the proceeds went to UPMC Children's.
Oh, okay. Well, then I love what it tastes like.
So it's with that we'll go back to talking about Lucy over the last almost 12 years.
That's right.
Can you tell me some of your favorite stories about the impact that it's had on children?
Oh my God. I mean, we'd be here for a month, which is such a...
I got time.
Yeah, which is such a privilege. I think that, it depends on the day. I mean, what I love is I share my story. As I'm presenting, I can see who's connecting with me in the crowd, right? And then depending on the school, if we do a Q&A, it depends on what the crowd's like. And sometimes that Q&A can last for 25 minutes, sometimes it's 5 minutes. And then I also offer to stay in the room after. And then if anyone was too nervous to raise their hand, they can speak to me one-on-one. And without question, every single time I speak, there's a line of kids to speak to me after. So I have been so lucky to have seen immediate responses to the impact that I'm having on kids, and to see them feel courage and bravery to come up and talk to a stranger about something that they're going through, that they've connected with me through what I'm saying. And I know that not everybody gets to experience that in their life, and it's something that I will never take for granted. It is like the most rewarding experience ever. And as of recent, I made a difficult decision for Listen Lucy, where I have decided on my 12-year anniversary that I'm going to stop my assembly program, which has been a very emotional and challenging decision to make, but one I had to make to prioritize my own mental health and not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. And in that, a young person reached out to me and told me they heard me speak last year, and then said not only was it the first time that they realized that they had to go seek help, that they actually did seek help, and now they have initiated a mental health program at their school.
Really?
And I've been so lucky that that's not the only message I've received like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could talk about it forever. It's like, it's incredible. And that what I went through meant something and means something to people is, amazing.
Right.
It makes me feel, I can't even believe it, truly.
So how else then, other than the school system, which I would have imagined was like a primary way to reach children, are you going to be establishing programs? I want to hint Camp Lucy a little bit, but like, what is the strategy now, 12 years on?
That's a great question. To be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure yet. I know that Camp Lucy is my free mental health conference for middle school kids. I launched it last year. We had an incredible turnout. We sold out our first year, over 200 kids from 12 different districts. We raised over $35,000 so that everyone could go for free. Transportation there, transportation home, everything in between. It was the hardest thing I ever tried to accomplish in my career, and we did it, and it was so amazing, and I want to continue to do that. I think there's an opportunity for me now in the thought leader conversation is that I'm 12 years in, and I don't want to lean on my past as why people should listen to me anymore. I think that I feel a little bit trapped in this phase of my life that was a really dark phase of my life because I have to relive it so often. And I did it at the beginning to build my reputation, and I hope my reputation stands now that I can speak on this subject as a subject matter expert. And now my goal is to bring other speakers to places like Camp Lucy, that we can use my platform and my reach in my community to highlight their voices and their stories and not just focus on mine anymore. What that looks like, I don't know. I think Camp Lucy is the start of it. I think more children's books is the start of it. There's part of me that wants to get into the conversation of mental health and motherhood now that I'm a mom of two. I've experienced postpartum depression. I've seen the lack of support for moms after having children. So I think it's exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time to give up something that was everything I ever wanted to achieve because it became too much for me. I feel relief and nervous, but I figure it out.
So in that figuring it out, understanding, of course, you don't know exactly how it's going to manifest maybe in the next year or so. Do you have a vision for what it's going to do in the next 5 to 10? I mean, it's been 12. How about the next 12?
Yeah. No, I don't. And that's the first time that's ever happened. And I think it's an important thing to say because I think sometimes whenever, I think when you start succeeding, there's this thought out there that you have it all figured out, right? And that things are starting to catch on, and I'm making the impact I want to make, and the Corcoran Collective is doing well, knock on wood right now. That could change in a minute, trust me.
As you said.
Yeah, so I think people think that we all have it figured out, and that's not true. And I'm okay with that. I really am. I think that's part of the thrill of the career that I've chosen. And I think that as soon as I made the announcement that I was no longer going to be offering school assemblies, I'm still going to speak at conferences, but much less. I was doing 40 assemblies a year. It's way too many. And I'm still going to speak, but as soon as I made that announcement, 2 opportunities came in that week that are shifting things a little bit that I'm feeling out. And I think if I make space for other things in my life, that this sounds like so woo-woo-y, but like it will present itself to me, and I always trust my gut. So when an opportunity comes, I know right away if it's the right opportunity for me or not. And I go after things and I figure it out. And I think that's a skill set that I've not perfected, but I've grown over the past 12 years, right? Yeah. I don't think that's what people think I should be saying, but it's just the truth, right?
Right. What could be worse than that? What could be better than that? The truth. Waiting for the opportunity. You said earlier that it took 7 years for Listen Lucy to, as you perceived it, kind of pick up steam. Okay? This drink is called Cobra Toes.
Sure.
It's a light drink.
Okay.
It's from Cinderlands. Cheers, first off, to the Cobra Toes.
Okay, Cinderlands.
Ooh, light and bright.
It is light and bright.
Sort of defies the name of it, Cobra Toes. Cobra Toes seems like a quite like menacing, like sharp kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I like it.
You said it took 7 years for you to perceive Listen Lucy to start to curve upward. How the hell did you get through those 7 years of cobras at your toes?
I think that it takes a very specific type of person to endure what we've chosen to do, right? I think
Lay it out for me.
Yeah,
What's the profile?
I think that I think it's grit. I think it's tenacity. I think it's a touch of delusion. I think it is problematic work ethic and ambition. You know, I think I'm ambitious to my own detriment at times. I don't regret any of that. I think there has to be, because I also think where you're starting from depends on your journey too, right? Like I don't have financial backing. I don't come from money. I have so much grit from just my life, right? And I think that that has been super beneficial to me because I believe I will outwork anybody, anytime. And I am a little bit delusional in the belief in myself that I am special enough to make this happen. I think you have to have the thickest skin possible. I was selling my trauma to people and people were rejecting that like it wasn't enough. You know, like you haven't been through enough or it's not captivating enough.
Yeah.
So my skin got real thick real quick.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the things that continues to make my businesses grow. I worked so many other jobs while I pursued this, right? I hustled like...
What did you do? What were some of the
So
odd
I worked at
jobs?
Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I worked at InventHelp, the invention company, was my first job ever when I launched Listen Lucy. So I had full-time jobs for a while and I was doing this at night. Then I decided to try to pursue this full-time. So I left that and started selling shoes at Nordstrom and loved that job too. People person, so being out, and it was fun. It was really fun. And it was nice to take a break from, anyway, the mental toll it takes on you.
That first chunk of jobs you were telling me about, a little bit different in terms of
Totally, but there was way
pace
more
of life.
flexibility, right? So I would work closing shifts at Nordstrom all the time so I could get most of my day in and work, and I just worked 24 hours a day, basically. Then I started working for a small business and doing their social media. It was for cuffs that, like jazzier cuffs for your Apple Watch for women. But I started doing their social media, customer service, so then I was remote. So I kept getting closer and closer and closer. And then I launched the Corcoran Collective. So I think that I have an unhealthy work ethic. I think that a lot of times that's like glorified. I think that it has made me successful now, but I refuse to give up. I think the secret to entrepreneurship is outlasting everybody else, right? My husband always says, I don't know if you're successful or obstinate. And it's true. I just refuse to give up. And I didn't take, one thing I will say to you is in your journey, or any person that's thinking about entrepreneurship, if people aren't listening right away, it doesn't mean what you're saying isn't important, right? It means that you have to find your way to get your message met where the world is right now, right? When COVID happened, the conversation around mental health spiked like wildfire.
Right.
And then I was getting all these placements in the media and people were asking me, you really blew up overnight. Like, not even a little bit. Or you were ahead of this trend. I'm like, this isn't a trend. This is my life. But I never stopped. And I knew I had something. I just didn't know how to get it where I needed to be. And it just takes time. If you aren't a celebrity, if you aren't a Kardashian, like launching your own brand and launching your own talk show, launching your own mental health organization, it's really, really hard. That doesn't mean it's not worth it, right? So you just have to outlast everybody else.
Hey, you're preaching like to another preacher, essentially. I feel that I'm not sure I have the same magnitude of those qualities that you're describing because I haven't been through this journey for
Give
like
yourself a
7
minute.
years yet. I'll give myself a couple of years to get there, but like I'm stubborn. I could be obstinate as shit.
Yeah,
I got an ego. I feel like I have to be right, and that's sort of why I push into these sorts of things.
Yeah.
When I started this business and then this show, it was on no backing and no other job. I just started from zero and said, hope it works. And that was pretty much it. The grit was there, the tenacity was there. A lot of people have called me delusional, and that's not even related to the business. So I'm glad to hear that these are some of the makeups of what makes people great, and I will continue to push through this. The debut episode of this show, I was like, I'd worked on it for like a year. I was like, I can't wait for this to go out. I'm gonna show this to the world, and it's great, but I'm not a celebrity. And so I launched it and it got like 50 views or something like that, and I was
amazing.
like, see, in my head, I was like, this is amazing, but there was still something niggling there that was like, does anybody really care? And I keep going back to this quote that I said in the debut, which was, nobody cares until everybody cares. And then everybody cares.
But what if we were sitting in this room right now and there were 50 people watching us? You wouldn't blink an eye at that, you would think that was amazing. It's just because the world is so big and we can access things on social media. If 50 people were in this room, you were like, 50 people came to my live show. That's amazing.
I'm so glad that you've said this, because content creators, and I've experienced it, get down about that number, and it, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, has happened a lot in the world of live streaming, because it's become very popular, because there's a lot of money in it, right? And people say, oh, I only have like 12 people watching this. Nobody cares. But it's like, well, let's say that you were at home in your bedroom or your living room or whatever, your basement, and you were playing a game or doing something on your computer, and there were 12 people sitting behind you in a semicircle, just like intently watching your stuff. That'd feel pretty freaking, you'd feel pretty freaking important.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah, and what if 3 of those people purchase whatever you're doing or subscribe to you or whatever?
Exactly.
It's the engagement, it's attracting the right audience. I think that we've become a society that's so, and I run a business based off of increasing people's social media
like
visibility.
Attention, basically,
yeah,
right?
Totally. Yeah. And our analytics are off of it. I don't think that brings more or less value to your message, right? It's finding your audience.
Yeah.
And the goal isn't, we say this at the Corcoran Collective, if you're not excluding somebody in your message is too vague. And we want people to feel like, oh, this is my person. This is who I'm tuning in for. And whether that's 50 people, 50,000 people, anywhere in between, when you start at nothing, right? No backing, you're doing this on your own. Every milestone you hit, every achievement, to me, I've earned that, right? And I feel like I could, run a marathon right in that moment whenever it happens. It is worth every second of the questioning and doubting and why am I doing this and wanting to give up, and then taking a breather and the next day being like, I would never do anything else.
Right. It's a Scottish style ale, which is, I've never had anything quite like it.
Okay.
But it's named for the titans of industry, those who built the railroads and things like that,
cool.
Those who changed industries of their time.
Yes.
So cheers, and with that,
Cheers.
I'll ask you something related.
Okay. Okay.
So you're not bitter on the end, not sharp.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for, a nice, like, rounded sort of denouement to the conversation.
Perfect.
Ooh,
Hey,
oh my God.
Fancy. Thought leader type vocabulary.
Oh my God, what the hell? You pulling out SAT words? So, you work every day to benefit the lives of children. You talk about mental health. You've experienced that. You are walking the walk just as much as you've talked your talk. What do you hope changes in the industry of maybe healthcare, but as it relates to mental health specifically? And maybe we can look on a longer time horizon here. Maybe not just in the Listen Lucy lens, but on a longer term threshold. What do you hope happens in America and the world for the future of mental health and how it's addressed?
Okay, so I think there are so many things that I hope change in mental health. And the first thing I definitely will say, in the past 12 years, I have seen magnificent progress, right? When I first started Listen Lucy, I was literally clawing my way into those schools to get schools to prioritize this conversation, to allow me to speak to their communities, to allocate funds for programming. And now when I go into schools, they're reaching out to me. And they have chill rooms, and they have SAP counselors, which is student assistant programming. They have all of these resources. Stand Together, which is funded by Allegheny County. There are all of these programs that now exist. So I have been seeing progress. So I don't want to make it seem like there hasn't been progress.
Okay, that's good.
That's amazing. I think that one of the major things is, especially since COVID, our school counselors are inundated. There's one school counselor for 500 kids. So
Today?
yes, yeah.
And that's an improvement. It feels like not a lot.
There are schools that are now bringing on psychiatrists, psychologists, bringing contractors in. So I think providing more support in the schools, I think we're on our way. Change takes time. So I think that's one of it. I think access to free mental health support I was able to, in college, when I finally went to get help, I went to my school campus counseling center, and it was completely free for me. So getting there was so easy. That's one of the financial restrictions are things that you don't even think about. Access to a vehicle, right? There's one program that we have been working with that they are trying to get funding to provide free transportation for kids to and from mental health support. There are so many financial barriers that people hit when trying to get mental health support. And then when they call, it's a 6-month waiting list, it's a 3-month waiting list, and so much can happen in that time. So I hope that we are working to find solutions. And in order to find those solutions, we have to, as a country, admit that we are in the midst of a mental health crisis, right? We have to believe kids whenever they say they are struggling. We have to listen to them and support them. We have to seek help ourselves, right? I knew it was okay for me to get help because I watched my dad get help whenever he needed it. And I knew that I would be supported whenever I finally said it. And I think that our kids see what we're doing. They hear the conversations we're having. They see how we live our lives. And in order for them to get help earlier than I did, we need to be prioritizing it earlier than they did for me. I try now, like my kids are 5 and 3, and I teach them breathing techniques. I talk to them about their mental health, not in a scary way, in an age-appropriate way, but we talk about managing our emotions. What are we feeling? Things that my parents didn't mess up by not sharing with me. The world wasn't talking about it. Now we know better, so it's our responsibility to do better. So because life is gonna happen to my kids. I will lay my life on the line trying to make sure it doesn't, but life is coming from my kids.
Sure.
So how are they going to manage stress and avoid the same obstacles that I faced because the world was a different place then? And I want to do that obviously for my kids first and foremost, but for as many kids as I possibly can, to say stress is normal, adversity is normal, struggling with your mental health is normal, and the way to cope is also, there are so many options out there to make how you're feeling temporary. You don't have to unpack and live there. You can feel it, you can experience it, and you can figure out ways to move on to regain control, you know? And I think that it is possible. We just need the adults in the room to believe that, and that's a hard thing to convince everybody, but I'm working on it. Okay.
Good. So we have tried a sampling of Pittsburgh's best, and we come to the finale now, right back home to the Penn Brewery.
I love Penn Brewery. Our first office for the Corcoran Collective was right above Penn Brewery, and we absolutely love it there. We just unfortunately, knock on wood, we outgrew the space.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we had to move, but we love Penn Brewery. We've had their drinks, my team more than me because I'm not a beer drinker, but their food is also amazing.
Well, I am glad that we are bringing it back home to that.
That's right.
To the roots. This is Penn's Weizen, just a Weizen style beer. And it's a little play on words here because if I were pronouncing it wrong, it would be Weizen. And so as we finish today, first a taste.
Okay. None of these are too hoppy.
I kind of went for like a lighter,
I'm happy that
a lighter
you did.
feel.
Thank you.
And it's a light, refreshing end of the show because we have talked here about your entrepreneurial journey, the grit, the tenacity, the delusion needed to get past those first 7 years of flat and into a world where you can better the lives of everybody, yourselves, children, and the world at large. The entrepreneurs of the next generation haven't done that yet. They need to build those skill sets. They need to hear stories like yours. So in the spirit of this sip and this show, how can they wizen up?
I see what you did there.
Learn a little.
Okay.
And take an example from you or somebody else to get started on their own path.
Okay, I don't know if I think that while I am confident in my ability, I think it's hard.
I was gonna say, you said you were a thought leader to start it up.
I am. I think that the truth is that I'm still figuring it out too. Like I feel so lucky, and I've worked for it. I feel so lucky to be experiencing what we're experiencing right now. And I feel like, especially at the Corcoran Collective, Lucy, we are just getting started is how I really feel in my heart. I feel that I think people think it happens overnight. I have been doing this for 12 years and I'm seeing growth that I was hoping was possible, right? And it took me a really long time. So I think for the younger generation that's looking to go into entrepreneurship, don't get caught up in likes, don't get caught up in followers, don't get caught up in that. Talk to people in real life that have done more than you, that know more than you, and that you think will invest in you, right? And I don't mean financially, that they want to see you win, that they offer their expertise. Every time I make a decision or I level up in some way, I look to my network and who has experience in this, and I talk to them about my ideas and I talk things out. I make decisions quickly, and I develop my following based off of creating a really good product, right? Because they can't deny it if it's good. At Corcoran Collective, our services, we try to be the top of the pack for everybody. But the most important thing to me is that we are good people with amazing customer service that make sure every single one of our clients feels special and important, because that's how we genuinely feel about them, right? So we worry about this online platform and getting millions of views when really the work still needs to be done one-on-one, depending on what your business is. So if there's a product, a service, whatever it is involved, I would say make those person-to-person connections and make sure that they really like you, and make sure you're operating in a way that you're really proud of whenever you go to sleep. You're already gonna have sleepless nights as an entrepreneur. Don't let it be by the way you're running your business. The second thing is, do not give up when it doesn't work the first time, right? Do not give up when it doesn't work the second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, 10th time. Do not give up. Continue to believe in yourself, but have the willingness to adapt and pivot to make your message, product, whatever it is, fit the world. I think that the younger generation gets a lot of heat. And I think every younger generation in the history of the world has gotten a lot of heat. I think that I have been lucky enough to meet some of the most remarkable young people that are going to do the most incredible things. So also don't let society tell you that you're not valued, you're not seen, that you aren't what you say you are because they never saw someone do it this way, right? So experience, tenacity, and delusion, right?
That's what I'm going to title the show, Tenacity and Delusion, the Jordan story.
That's me.
Plenty of examples out there to see. This is the first. And speaking of that person-to-person connection, how can people connect with you and what you're all about to round it out?
Check out listenlucy.org. At listenlucy is our handle, thecorcorancollective.com, at the Corcoran Collective, CORCORAN. And you can find all of our services, our stories, our clients. You can see all about Camp Lucy and all the things that we do. There's a lot going on every minute of every day, and I like it that way.
Good.
Thank you.
At the top of this, you said you were a thought leader, and through this flight, you have proved it through and through. Thanks for sharing the leader with me and your thoughts on thought leaders as a thought leader. How about that? I'm gonna fix that wording later.
No, I loved it. I think you
right.
should say it exactly
Well,
like that. Thank you for
and
having me.
thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, do all the stuff. Okay, bye-bye now. Yeah, we'll see you later. Okay, let's let this fade to black. Oh, wasn't this a nice presence? This was a great day.